Hey everybody, Jamie from the Marine Doctor's YouTube channel, and would you look at this? What a mess. Actually, this lends itself to the video because it's going to make it make a lot more sense. I'm out in the yard here with FAFO. So that's my son's clipboard that tells the truth, or makes me tell the truth, or helps to tell the truth, or makes it so that I don't make mistakes. So we're going to talk about today is fuel stabilizer, storage fog, and premium fuel. I know I've talked about premium fuel before, but I want to touch on it again because now we're at the point where, well, the world is starting to look like this in our area, which means that other places are probably going to follow suit. And yeah, the season's over. So we're going to talk about first fuel stabilizer. How is it that a couple capfuls or an ounce or two is enough to treat 50 liters, 75 liters, or 100 liters and make it last for maybe a year or maybe 2 years? And why don't fuel companies simply just put this in the fuel to begin with so that we don't have to worry about it and our fuel lasts longer? We'll start with that one because that's the easiest one to answer. 99% of all the fuel that's sold gets used up very quickly in vehicles or engines that don't require storage. So if those engines or vehicles, if those vehicles or those engines don't require storage, they just go through the fuel too quickly and they're replenished very soon. Unfortunately though, in our industry, as you can see, we've got boats that sit. And when they sit, they need some kind of protection, and that's what fuel conditioner actually does for them. So we're going to talk specifically about Quickstore today. I know there are other brands on the market that do the same thing, but we're going to talk about this one specifically and what it does. Okay, so it prevents oxidation. So Quickstore contains antioxidants that slow the breakdown of hydrocarbons in gasoline, keeping fuel volatile and clean for up to 12 months. Now, a difference between Quickstore versus other brands is some brands even will say that they'll protect up to 2 years, which is fantastic. So if Quickstore is not your thing and you want to go elsewhere and you want to source something else, by all means do your research. Pick up that product if you believe that it's going to be stored for longer than 1 year. Inhibits corrosion. So it coats internal metal surfaces, tank walls, and fuel lines, injectors with a protective film that resists moisture and acidic byproducts. So the reason that we need that is if you're running an ethanol blended fuel, or if you've got a tank that's open to atmosphere, you're more likely to gather water in some form of or fashion. Okay, so we want to protect against that. So it suspends contaminants. It helps prevent gum, varnish, and water from settling or separating, reducing the risk of phase separation in ethanol blended fuels. So guys or people, if you can, try to avoid ethanol blended fuels. If you can't, due diligence, treat the fuel. But we're going to talk about premium fuel at the end anyway, and you're going to be surprised. Maintains fuel system integrity by keeping fuel stable. It prevents clogging of jets, injectors, and filters when the engine is restarted after storage. So if we've got good fuel that's going through there, we shouldn't have a plugged up carburetor, because hopefully that fuel that's in there or the fuel system has been treated, whether it's EFI or carbureted, and we shouldn't have any issues, or the less likelihood of issues. Okay, we're not going to say that this is the golden standard where for sure it's going to work, because there are other things that come into play. All right, now on to fogging oil. We're going to touch on the premium fuel right at the end, so you guys are going to have to wait for that one, but like I said, you guys are going to be surprised. So fogging oil creates a protective barrier. A fine mist of oil coats cylinder walls, piston crowns, valves, injector tips, carb throats, and exhaust ports. So if we have a layer of oil on there, it means that water can't get at it. So this is the prevents corrosion, especially critical in marine environments where moisture and salt can accelerate rust inside the engine. Keeps piston rings from sticking. Fogging oil prevents varnish and carbon buildup that can cause rings to seize or lose compression. Now this is most likely due to the fact that it coats it. So this is really important, and this is a lifesaver right here. This will add years onto your engine. Protects against dry starts after months of inactivity. Fogging ensures lubricated contact surfaces during the first crank. So when you guys start that engine in spring, if we don't have oil in there, we don't have oil in there, and we have issues. We have metal to metal contact, and we have wear. And how do we apply that? So there's a couple different ways. We can go through the intake. We spray the fogging oil into the air intake while the engine is running at idle. This distributes the mist throughout the combustion chambers. Or we go through the spark plugs for deeper protection, remove plugs, spray directly into each cylinder, then rotate the engine manually to spread the oil. So we don't use the starter, because the starter is going to do what? It's going to take and blow the oil all out, because it's going to spin it too fast. Now, on two-stroke engines, fogging is especially important since oil isn't stored in a sump. Internal surfaces rely on residual lubrication. So I do mention two ways, and the most common way that we do it here is through the spark plugs. I've torn a lot of engines apart, and there's tons of oil typically left inside of a two-stroke engine. So hoping that that's the barrier, I believe it is. Okay, now, why you guys might be here, why you might have stuck around. Why premium fuel can be better for storage? Well, let's see. The higher octane components are more stable, so premium fuels, typically 91 through 94 octane, typically contain more branched chain and aromatic hydrocarbons, I know, a lot of big words here, which resist oxidation better than straight chain hydrocarbons found in regular 87 octane. Now, this is why. Now, listen to this. Fewer low-grade additives. Regular fuel often includes more volatile, short-lived compounds that refineries need to offload. These degrade faster and contribute to gum and varnish formation. So think of it this way. When you go to your grocery store and you're thinking, hey, I'll have some wieners, or I'll have some bologna, or I'll have some kind of mechanically separated meat, right? You could buy the steak, which is the steak, or you can buy the byproducts of what's left over, right? That's kind of what regular fuel is versus premium. I know that's a weird analogy, but it's one that should stick. So fewer low-grade additives, I read that. Longer shelf life. So premium fuel can last slightly longer, up to 6 months untreated, compared to 3 or 4 months for regular. With stabilizers, both can stretch 12 to 24 months depending on the storage condition. But there's a catch. Here it is, people. Octane doesn't prevent degradation. Premium fuel resists knock, not time. Without a stabilizer, it will still lose volatility. Ethanol content matters more. If you can avoid using ethanol blended fuel, that's the way to go. So even if it was a regular fuel, for example, if you could avoid ethanol, it's gonna be better. Now, hang on, I ran out of room on FAPO's first page here. Now, one other thing that I've talked about before, and I'm gonna sum up my video with this, is marine engines don't need high octane. Unless your engine is high compression or turbocharged, maybe not even, well, supercharged, for example, we don't even run premium in those. But premium offers no performance benefit, just slightly better storage chemistry. So with that, if you're spending the extra money on premium fuel, it's going to last longer, but the engine, it doesn't know. It still believes it's the same thing it's being fed, unless you've got knock sensors, turbo, a supercharger, high compression engine. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I made a couple laps here. I got some steps in, and it looks like this is what I'm in for the rest of the year. I'll see you guys in the next video.